Hello, I'm just checking my audio.
Board Member Ruiz, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. I'm just checking my audio too. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. I want to tell them not to mention the t-shirt. She's going to talk about them taking them on my way. Yeah. So, I was thinking about those grants and everything, so just let me take the lead on that, okay? I'm not sure I'm gonna mention that, because it doesn't quite fit in with everything else I was gonna say, but, okay? Okay, thanks a lot, kiddo. I appreciate your support. Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. How are we doing today? It's okay, you can respond. Yeah, thanks. I don't want to sit up here by myself and not get a response. All right, we are going to go ahead and get started with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence, and then we will have a roll call. We are still waiting for Vice President Close, but he will arrive when he arrives. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Do you want me to do my spiel first and see if we can give? Okay, great. We'll just waste a little bit more time. It's fine. All right. For housekeeping items before we take our roll call, board members that are in person, there's a microphone directly in front of you. When the mic is red, it is not live. Please click on the mic when you want to talk. The mic will turn green and then you can speak. Once you are done speaking, please push the mic again so it will turn red. For board members participating via Zoom, and we have 2 today, correct? Yes. Please stay on mute. If you would like to speak, please push the hand icon to indicate that you would like to speak. This will help us, not just me, know that you want to have an opportunity to share something, and I will make sure that I call on you. For charters and applicants on the agenda that are participating via Zoom, please stay muted until your item is called. Once your item is called, board staff will introduce the item and then I will call on you to address the board. At that time, you may unmute yourself. And finally, for charters or applicants on the agenda participating in person, once your item is called, board staff will provide a brief introduction and answer any questions board members may have. Then I will request that a representative for the charter come up to the podium to address the board. Friendly reminder, please make sure that you push the button on the microphone and make sure that the microphone's green so that if you don't worry, we'll remind you. It'll be okay. All right. And with that, sorry, Hans, I did the best I could. Ashley, can we get a roll call, please?
President Montier,
Present.
Vice President Close, Superintendent Designee Miller,
Here.
Miss Barr, here, Dr. Crockett,
Present.
Miss Foster, Miss Jones,
Present.
Mr. Ruiz,
Here.
Snyder,
Here.
Mr. Stratton, Mr. Swanson.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Lovely. On to agenda item D, Superintendent's Report. Superintendent Designee Miller.
Good morning.
Good
Thank
morning.
you. Shared in the recent ADE March 2026 EdTech and Computer Science update, many of you are familiar with the Hour of Code. This has been a highlight for us at Challenge Charter, where we empower our kids with the language of Python and teach a full 2nd through 6th grade integrated TechSmart Kids coding curriculum. Good morning, Hans. The Hour of AI is an evolution of this highly successful Hour of Code as a new global initiative launched this fall to help learners take their first step into understanding and creating with AI. AI is obviously reshaping the world, but for too many students, it still feels invisible and possibly out of reach. The Hour of AI is intended to make it accessible, creative, and human-centered. Some of the highlights include that it is for every learner. Everyone deserves to understand how to create with the technology that will shape their future. It is teacher-friendly, designed for anybody to teach, no AI expertise needed. It has a goal of a continued global reach, building on the 100 million, that number kind of blew my mind, plus Hour of Code participants. And it is partnership driven, built in collaboration with trusted education and tech partners. Approachable activities for students and adults spark imagination and empower the participants to envision how they can shape a better future with AI. They'll explore how AI works, how outputs are shaped by data, prompts, and human choices, and consider its social and ethical implications. The Hour of AI activities are provided and self-guided to be available at any time. At cs4all.org, you can explore the many current and available activities, select your preferred one, and choose a time. There are activities for every age and experience level, from kindergarten students to adults. One of my personal favorites of the activities offered was a Two Truths and AI, an interactive digital literacy game that teaches students to identify AI-generated content versus regular content and develop those critical media literacy skills to know the difference. To get involved, you can visit csforall.org. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do we do a roll call first and then no?
No, we have it in the records that Vice President Close has joined the meeting.
Fantastic. Okay. He's present, just in case anyone's wondering.
I do want to apologize for being late. I was trying to get through security using my son's tribal ID. That didn't help.
Oh, fraud. Just kidding. Just kidding. Yeah, it was really busy down there as well. Yes. Okay. On to agenda item E, Executive Director's Report with Ashley.
Good morning, President Montier, Vice President Close, Superintendent Designee Miller, and members. I'd like to provide you with an update on contract approvals I've approved under my authority and the school visits completed since our meeting in February. And Dan, if you could go to the next slide. Thank you. I have approved 28 amendments. These amendments are more technical in nature and involve updates to charter holder contracts, such as changes to instructional days and school governance. And additionally, board staff has completed 12 interval reviews, 6 renewal reviews, and there were 31 on-site visits completed, which includes standard pop-in visits and specialized accountability visits. And then moving on to legal updates for the board. As a brief update regarding Primavera Virtual Academy, previously known as American Virtual Academy, on March 4th, 2025, the board approved a motion to issue a notice of intent to revoke the school's charter contract due to failure to meet academic performance expectations under the board's academic performance framework, as well as violations of the charter and applicable state and federal law. The administrative hearing, which had been scheduled for April 14th through April 17th, has been continued. A written status update is scheduled to be filed with the Office of Administrative Hearings on or before April 20th, 2026. And then moving on to our legislative update. As a brief update on this current legislative session, we are currently in mid-session, we just passed crossover week last week, which is the point in the legislative calendar when bills must move out of their chamber of origin to remain viable. Last week, we saw lengthy floor calendars as both chambers worked to advance bills before the deadline. Broader discussions around school choice, ESAs, and accountability continue among legislators and stakeholders. There has also been a significant focus on student safety, and several bills under consideration would mandate changes to how charter schools operate in various ways. The association has been actively engaged in efforts to minimize disruption to charter schools while also ensuring compliance with the new requirements. A major ongoing issue this session is the future of Proposition 123. Lawmakers have not finalized a long-term solution, and discussions on how to address this funding issue are still ongoing. We will continue to monitor the budget actions and any additional bill movement and provide you updates throughout the session. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Board members, any questions for Ashley? Doesn't sound like it. I think are we all right? And that concludes your report. Okay, fantastic. All right, next, agenda item F, call to the public. We had one written public comment received. It has been placed on the meeting agenda, posted on the board's public website. And we have 2 requests to speak. One from Michael Godo from Unbound. And so if he would like to, is he coming? Yes, there you are. Hi, I knew I saw you already. Come on up. Press play.
All right. Well, good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm here on behalf of Unbound Academy. Unbound Academy was the charter that was approved last December, with the request from the board being that we are very innovative with an AI model and, of course, new to the state, that we come back and, of course, give some routine updates. I came before the board in public comment a few months ago just to express some enrollment pieces that were going and, that we were open and had our successful opening. I think we were about 130 students at that time. So I did supply a written comment with just some statistical updates that I'll break down for the board right now. Really exciting that so far our kids are achieving 2 times growth, which is what the 2-hour learning model promises. We don't promise it, but what the 2-hour learning model promises in terms of families and schools using it, that's according to the national MAP exam. So where some kids will progress on the MAP exam 6 to 7 points per subject over the course of the year, our kids who started with us in August and tested again in January, on average, about 55% of them, actually a little higher than the written commentary, were performing around 15 to 18 point growth. So performing that 2 times growth. So we're real excited to put them in a standardized scenario, coming up with state testing and see how that happens. Some other cool points going on is I did provide in the written commentary, the whole point of our condensed 2-hour learning model is that we are celebrating with kids and finding other skills that they can do. So we're really happy that we had a couple success stories to share. We've got an 8th grader in North Phoenix who's made $900 refurbishing Legos. We have 3 published authors, which is really cool. They've been able to put their productions on Amazon, short stories that they produced. One girl she's featured in some of our advertising. She's read 500 books before she came to Unbound, but now she's real excited that people get to read her stories. She produced a historical fiction short story that went on to Amazon in December. We have a Florence student who unfortunately just moved out of state, but in our business model that we have students do, achieved about a $0.5 million growth over 10 years, getting students used to financial literacy lessons and how to survive with money, right? So we're really excited about that. And then we also have students doing robotics challenges. I know we heard Hour of Code earlier, some students doing some robotics pieces, some basic line coding. And so we've got 4th graders learning some basic level coding and really excited that, we're giving them those experiences. So other pieces, just so the board's up to date, we are at 192 students as of today. So real excited to get really close to 200, getting pretty close to our charter cap. Probably won't hit it, but we'll get really close. 65% of our students are in the Maricopa County area, with the rest being all over the place. And when I say all over the place, Colorado City, Wilcox, Arizona, Lake Havasu. So as I did mention on the written commentary, our tiny staff of about 6 educators, myself and our admin assistant, we're going to have to be in 26 different testing locations over the course of the next month and a half. So we are very anxiously awaiting to see what any progress is on the state's remote testing capabilities in the next couple of years. So real excited with those stats, but I do have to, I always call out some of my mentorship. And what's really cool is I know one of the board members has on her computer in her office a little post-it note that says, "What do the students think?" As great as these stories are, we do routinely survey the students every 2 weeks to find out how they feel about school. Of course, with accreditation, we'll move that survey to parents, but we focus right now on the kids and their experience. So we're happy to report right now that kids right now are averaging about 88% saying that they love school. The ones that are in that 12%, they're either not attending, not taking the survey. And to be perfectly honest, what's kind of funny is we do allow commentary. If a kid says no, why are you saying no? Right. And we get a lot of middle school boys every other week that say, "Love is a very strong word. I don't love you guys, but I really like you guys." So we are really excited about the student experience. We do routinely reach out to our parents and just ask, "How's the first week been going?" So you can see a text message in the written commentary from one of our dads that just started last week. He said he does not remember the last time his son was actually excited to be at school. So we're really excited that, number one, we are seeing some academic achievement, and we're really hope's not a strategy, but we're really hoping that the academic success we've seen so far is going to translate to state testing coming up here, but then also that the kids are getting a solid experience. So real excited to share those updates. Anything we can do to support other innovative schools and provide more information about Unbound, more than happy. Really happy with the support we've had with not just the Charter Association, but the Board for Charter Schools as well. They've been very proactive in working with us, answering every single email that we send them. So really appreciate that. And I think that's it.
That's fantastic. Great work. Thanks so much for sharing. All right. And we have a second request to speak from Noah James Markham. I hope I said your name correctly. Okay. Welcome. Come on up.
Aloha. To the Miss President and to the rest of the state charter school board. My name is Noah James Markham, and I have a few concerns about charter schools. Why do you guys get the ESA program and not public schools? And been able to purchase SeaWorld tickets, condoms, and unnecessary stuff. What happened for the ESA vouchers only for people with disabilities? I also have another issue with charter schools is there's seminary classes for Mormons in high school. And if we have that, then they can keep their religion in that seminary class. But as charter schools as a whole, and every charter school in Arizona should apply to DEI policies that would make every charter school better in Arizona. I also hope that charter schools make sure that every person that has a disability should not have a hard time to get their accommodations for school. I also ask that charter schools put more education into your charter school system about the Japanese concentration camps right here in Arizona and around the country too. I also hope that we also talk more about Hawaiians in the education of charter schools in Arizona. We need to make sure that we pursue diversity, equity, and inclusion in the charter school system here. This is what will make them stronger here in Arizona. Mahalo, and thank you for listening to me this morning.
Thank you so much for sharing those points. And we will certainly look into all of that for you, okay? We don't have any other public comments? No? Okay, wonderful. Moving on to agenda item G, consent agenda. Do we have a motion? Well, are there any questions about the consent agenda items? No? Okay, do we have a motion?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
All right, motion made. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Lovely. Can we get a roll call, please, Ashley?
Vice President Close,
Aye.
Superintendent Designee Miller,
Aye.
Miss Barr,
Aye.
Dr. Crockett,
Aye.
Miss Jones,
Aye.
Mr. Ruiz,
Aye.
Mr. Snyder,
Aye.
Mr. Swanson,
Aye.
President Monteith.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Fantastic. On to agenda item H, charter amendments. H1 is Self-Development Charter School, Inc. Presentation by Rachel.
Good morning, President Monteith, Vice President Close, and Superintendent Designee Miller, and board members. Self-Development Charter School, Inc., DBA Self-Development Academy, has submitted an amendment request to increase the grades served from K-8 to K-12 beginning in fiscal year 2027. The charter holder is requesting the grade level increase to provide a continuous K-12 educational option for families seeking alignment with the school's instructional model. I'm available for questions should you have any, and I know representatives from the charter holder are in the room.
Board members, do we have any questions? Representatives from the charter, come on down. Good morning.
My name is Anja Majid, and I'm representing Self-Development Charter School, doing business as Self-Development Academy, and more commonly used as or referred to as SDA. I really want to thank you for this opportunity to present this expansion request. Self-Development Academy, our K-8 program, has served Arizona students for nearly 25 years. And each year, we have received continuously the highest grading that the Arizona Department of Education gives out to schools, which has recently been the AIR grading. So it's always been at the top. So we're very proud of it. This record reflects a clear model, which is based on a safe and an environment that is rigorous in curriculum. It promotes high standards and also establishes critical thinking projects. Today, we respectfully request for you to consider our request of expanding our K-8 school to 9 through 12 grades. Many families have come to us over the years asking us to open a high school. This has been a continuous process, and what they are looking for is continuity. These children are known, accepted, nurtured, and challenged at our school. And we feel with the high school being a critical period, we need to make sure that they build confidence, they build good habits, and form a long-term directions that is safe for them in their life. Our proposal for the high school is very simple and intentional. It requires two different diploma pathways. One is your regular diploma that the Arizona state requires, which requires 22 credits, and the other one is advanced diploma, reflecting the population that we serve. The advanced diploma would require 26 credit hours and advanced courses. We would encourage our students to take college credits, including we hope that some of them will graduate with their associate's degree before they leave high school. And for those who are participating in advanced diploma, we would like them to take career pathways, find directions for their careers, which will be used later in their lives, but start early. So we're very proud of how we have designed. We would like you to know that we really appreciate you considering, and we'd like you to please look at our track record, which has been exemplary as far as academics is concerned, as far as school safety is concerned, as far as school nurturing is concerned, as far as developing those young minds and they're maturing and becoming adults. We love doing what we are doing, and by giving us this opportunity, you can count on what defines SDA, which is integrity, hard work, commitment, and of course, rigorous curriculum. Before I conclude, I'd like to introduce two members of our team. Ms. Tycee Smith, who's worked as our teacher of at different levels, but the last time she was working as a middle school language arts teacher. This year she's taken a leave and is planning on traveling overseas, but when we needed her, she's back to help us temporarily in transition. And next we have Elizabeth Pearson, who is here to share briefly her thoughts and experience with Self-Development Academy. Elizabeth?
Hello, again, my name is Elizabeth Pearson. I am speaking to you today not just as an educator at Self-Development Academy, but as a former student. My parents enrolled me at Self-Development Preschool when I was 3 years old. My peers and I would eventually become the first kindergarten class of Self-Development Academy. My mom was a very vocal supporter in Dr. Majid continuing and creating the elementary school that we have today. She didn't want me to leave and lose that desire for knowledge that Dr. Majid had instilled in myself and all of my classmates. Parents continue to see how the preschool builds up students and then enrolls them into our elementary and eventually our middle school to continue their educational journey. When it was finally time for me to leave, because at the time we didn't have a middle school, unfortunately, I was placed in advanced classes and found concepts and skills I had already been exposed to at Self-Development Academy. Later, in high school and college, many of my classmates had no idea how to take notes or how to study, two skills I had reviewed every year at SDA. Today, our students are still exposed to high-level concepts. One of my 7th grade students has expertly been able to break down Frankenstein's themes and even connect it back to her social studies class. This is a novel that is not taught until 12th grade. As a result, our families see the progress their students are making and have inquired for years now about a high school to ensure the same rigor that their children are familiar with. These children are the ones who SDA High School is meant for, the ones who learn at a different pace and hold themselves to a higher standard. Our goal is for our students to have every option available to them and go out into the world prepared to succeed. Thank you so much for your time. Dr. Majid and Ms. Smith will be here for any questions you might have.
Board members, do we have any questions? Go ahead, Mr. Snyder.
Thank you for being here this morning. And congratulations on a long quality track record. I do have concerns about expanding into grade levels that you've never served before, even though you have served very well the ones you have served. Can you first talk to me a little bit more? All I could see in here, I think, was anecdotal demand. Do you have any specific, have you taken interest forms yet for a high school program, or is it just kind of people have kind of talked about it?
We do have several parents who have already stated intent to enroll if we expand. We have 10 for sure intent. Again, we can't fill out the forms yet. We haven't been accredited.
Right.
So we have 10 and then 5 from the general community who are not part of our student body. So there is interest in what we are doing.
And we have been approached by different groups for several years, but last spring, many parents, groups of 10, 15, who came and approached me and wanted us to open the school. So it's not necessarily just anecdotal, but a real effort on the part of our existing community and outside our school, individuals who have approached. Many have asked me to come and talk to many different groups, come and talk to about our small school that we envision. And we have been guarded right now because we wanted to get this approval, and for which we are very appreciative that you're considering. And for that reason, so as soon as we get the approval, we'll be contacting them and approaching them. We have about 10 students from our campus in Phoenix, where we serve low-income individuals who want to come to our school in Mesa, and we are going to figure out the logistics as to how to bus them from there so that the bus trip, which will be about a 20-minute, 25-minute ride, we can provide some sort of educational experience while they're riding with the instructor there, so they're not wasting their time, and that time is utilized wisely. So, and we are right now projecting about 40 students for next year, and it looks like we're pretty close to those numbers. Just begin with. And then it will be an autofill beyond that.
Okay. Is there a minimum number of students you need to generate to not put financial stress on the school?
There will be almost no extra financial stress at school at this time for 9th grade, because essentially we have the building there, we have the capacity there, and we have extra staff backing from the middle school. And during the freshman year, the first year, our courses, the dual enrollment courses that we are looking at, are career exploration and strategies for college success. We are contracting that with an individual who is taught at community level. So that would be more of a contractual. And we will definitely hire a guidance counselor. That's extremely important for us to guide them so that they can become competitive candidates for not only competitive colleges, but scholarships. And we need to start early. So I don't think right now the financial situation, we looked at it thoroughly, and thank you for asking. It looks good at this
Thank
point.
you. For staff, and pardon me if I'm the newbie here, still trying to figure out how this all works. When we're looking to approve an expansion of the school and an enrollment some way, whether it's through a cap increase due to perceived or real demand, grade expansions, do we not ask for financial projection from them to show how they intend to? Because I know that we don't approve on that basis, but frankly, financial stress could lead to academic stress in my mind. I've seen it happen. And so I'd like to understand, for me, I'd like to better understand how schools are comfortable or have made reasonable assumptions about how they sustain the change in the school should the plan not pan out exactly the way they thought it might.
Currently, at this time, we do not ask specifically what their financial plan is. We do have staffing and enrollment matrices that are included in the request, but beyond that, we do not ask what is their budget or their financial plan to allow for that amendment request.
Would that be something we're permitted to do?
Yes.
I think as a board, we should talk about that, especially in the environment in which we're living, with, we're seeing enrollment decreases all over the place, and we need to understand that the schools are not expanding for um, they're expanding for the right reasons, and that there's a plan behind it, and that it is flexible in my mind. So just something to consider. And then one other thing here, I may have missed it, but because this is a K-8 school, I saw a lot of comparison to surrounding K-8 schools, but I didn't find what the options were just to consider for K-12 or for high schools around in the surrounding area.
We did pull that for you, and we're looking to make a change to the template for this summary for these types of situations. I can tell you that we ran the data within a 5-mile radius. There are no high schools within a 2-mile radius that we could identify that currently have a letter grade. There are 5 within a 5-mile radius rated 4 A's and 1 B. 2 of those are charter schools.
And 2 are large districts.
2 are definitely large district high schools. One of them, I suspect, is a specialized program within Mesa based on the name within the Mesa district. Yep.
Those were great questions. Other questions? Yes. All right. Superintendent Designee Miller.
Good morning. Nice to see you. Thank you for being here with us. I was looking through some of your data and just was quite taken with your proficiency in math. It's very unusual to see, 44% of a student population in the highly proficient, not just proficient, but in the highly proficient. Like I kind of went, wait, am I reading this right? Because we so infrequently see that. So congratulations. When speaking to it, I should probably say out loud that 71% were proficient, but 44 of those crossed up into the highly. How do maybe you could speak to us a little bit about how you intend to carry that forward? I know you mentioned, using the same staff. So being not the best in math myself, those concepts get harder, is the staff prepared to deliver them at that same level of excellence?
Yes, we have a highly qualified staff member on our staff at this time who does have the credentials to teach at a high school level. We also have a pull-out program that we've used for our entire inception, where we continue to make sure that we have small group support for those who are struggling. Dr. Majid herself has spent a lot of time in the classroom helping to support those math programs, because that is something that is near and dear to her own heart, making sure that they can do well with that. So we will continue with our model that has worked for a long time. And the students that are currently in our middle school are working at a higher level. Our 8th graders right now are at geometry. We've had students in the past who have taken pre-calculus, depending on just how advanced they have been. And we've been able to support them in that, and we'll continue to do that. Going forward as well, we are looking at dual enrollment programs. So when we get to the point that student cannot no longer be served mathematically by our school, we will continue to look at the community colleges to help them further along in that process with the math, with those students who are highly excelled at that point.
Thank you for elaborating on that. I believe that self-development has a reputation for meeting kids at their individual level. So I know, being in a small school myself, sometimes those students, you don't want to let them go into those larger, we say go swim with the sharks, right? So I think it's commendable that you want to carry the program forward and push at the edges of your box a little for that next step. Thanks.
I'm going to jump in here and kind of piggyback off of what Superintendent Designee Miller was talking about. I do want to touch on dual enrollment and just find out what your plan is for that, because I work at a K-12 school and dual enrollment is particularly challenging, especially with credentials and making sure that you can fund that. So to Member Snyder's point. So talk to us about what your dual enrollment process is, what the plan is, since it sounds like you have quite a few students that are going to end up going that route, whether they're next year or eventually.
We've started looking at that. We are very close to the Red Mountain Community College, so we are talking to a lot of people. We do have someone contracted, possibly contracted, as again, we're looking for that to start with our freshman classes, that we have very specific courses we want all of our students to go through. The sorry, I have to look at my notes for those.
The 2 courses will offer in freshman year. That's how we'll start. Is a career exploration and strategies for college success. We'll begin with the dual enrollment there. And then, of course, 10th grade, we'll have more dual enrollment. If they are pursuing associate's degree, they need 20 courses or 60 credit hours or more. And we will work it out with many of our subject areas that we do teach. For example, you pointed out math. Many of our students in 8th grade do take geometry. And when they have gone to regular high school, they are trying to be placed in Algebra 2. Many have even prepared themselves where they have taken Algebra 2 in 8th grade. So we are not only advanced in math, but also in literature, as well as the sciences. So those are really strong subject areas that we push and help students. And many times we have to hold their hands, but we do, as a small school, we support them, give them the support, the confidence, and the commitment that they would need to succeed. So going back to your dual enrollment, yes, we have talked to some of the parents who are we have met with different groups of parents, not as a large group because we didn't want to announce it in an assembly that we are going with that, but we wanted to meet with forums, small forums, as to what are they looking for. And so they are understanding that regarding funding, that by participating in the dual enrollment, earning college credits, they're really saving money for those students who will go on to university or pay for those tuitions. So it's a lesser amount. And as a school, as we move forward, we will look at different grants and options for a few of our candidates who will need more help financially. So yes, and going back to your question earlier regarding the budgeting, though the charter board did not necessarily ask us, we worked on it real thoroughly. Can we afford it? Can we do it? Can we support it and develop this concept in the way that we want to? And we feel very strongly that we can. This particular school has always been, I think, exceeded in the financial dashboard. And I just want to make sure that we're very, very guarded and careful on that. So thank you.
I just want to make sure that I understand. So I apologize if dual enrollment's kind of a big thing that's happening at my school, so I'm a little stuck on it. So I apologize. Am I understanding correctly that when you're speaking about dual enrollment for your school, that it will be, I just want to make sure I understand. So if I'm wrong, please correct me, that it's going to be at a discounted rate for the students. So they're going to have to pay some money for the dual enrollment courses?
It depends on if they're taking concurrent or dual enrollment and they're going to the community college campus, they would need to. But if we are offering it at our school, that we're planning on developing the capacity of our faculty. So right now, the way it looks like, they need 18 credit hours in the subject area, graduate credit hours for the faculty.
Yeah.
We will make sure, if not, then they may, if they are taking certain courses, more for their own choices. Yes.
Okay, great. Because dual enrollment with more of the CTE courses is a little bit easier to find a teacher to dual enrollment. The certification requirements for the core classes are significantly more challenging. Just putting that out there.
Thank you.
Don't ask me how I know.
Okay.
Any other questions or feedback from the board? Do we have anyone online? Because I cannot see them. There are no questions? Okay. Oh, Member Jones.
Well, I just want to, piggyback on the comments already made and thank you for being here and your track record and your financial reporting, and you just have a great track record. So it's really great to have a school in our portfolio, and it's commendable that you're wanting to expand those grade levels too, because that can be challenging. And for many people, they may not want to do that. So I do commend you for that. And we thank you. And I just wanted to double check. You said in terms of facility, you already have existing facility that you feel really confident about, correct?
Yes, our facility is, the capacity is for about 650 students. We have had up to 400 students. Right now, our enrollment is not quite at that level, and we'd like to bring it to 400 students by adding the students in high school, about 140 students over a 4-year period. So we should be fine there within the capacity. Of course, when you have the maximum capacity, you can hardly move. We want to make sure there are enough rooms for everything else that we want to offer. Our design, if I may add quickly, the high school is really meant for not only highly focused, academically focused school, but we're also looking at some of the extracurricular activities. We will select a few, not a whole menu full of items, but tennis is one of them. We're looking at volleyball and what else?
We're also looking at drama and speech and debate. Those are the ones we really want to be highly focused on what we do. We know we're a small school. We can't offer everything. So we want to make sure that what we do offer, we offer at the highest level possible. So we're very intentionally picking those things that we think will help our students be successful moving forward. Speech and debate is going to be something that's required of everybody. The debate team will obviously be something that they can participate in by choice, but they will be required to take speech and debate classes. So looking at things like that that continue kind of our model and our philosophy of education and highly advanced curriculum. And so, yes.
Okay. So it sounds like you're confident with the current facilities, confident with how you're going to serve and provide those opportunities. So that's the only question I had. Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, if not, I feel like that summed it up pretty well. Do we have a motion? All right.
I'll do it.
Okay.
No one else's. First of all, I want to second Member Jones and commend you on all your hard work and wish you luck, assuming this motion passes. But, I move based on the information contained in the board materials and presented today to approve Self-Development Charter School, Inc.'s request to add grades 9 through 12 for the contract of Self-Development Charter School, Inc., DBA Self-Development Academy.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Lovely. Can we get a roll call, please?
Vice President Close,
Aye.
Superintendent Designee Miller,
Aye.
Miss Barr,
Aye.
Dr. Crockett,
Aye, and I'd like to add my congratulations.
Miss Jones,
Aye.
Mr. Ruiz,
Aye.
Mr. Snyder,
Aye.
Mr. Swanson,
Aye.
President Monteith.
Aye. Congratulations. We're very excited to see what you can do. Yes. Clap. Get excited. This is good. All right. On to agenda item H. Young Scholars Academy Charter School Corporation presentation, also by Rachel.
Young Scholars Academy Charter School Corporation has submitted an amendment request to increase the grades served from K-8 to K-12 for fiscal year 2027. The charter holder is also requesting a program of instruction change to accommodate the difference in instruction for the new grades. I'm available for questions should you have any.
Board members, any questions for Rachel? All right. And I assume we have representatives from the charter. Welcome.
Good morning, Madam President and board members. It's a pleasure to be here today. I started this journey 30 years ago. It's not everyone that gets to live their dream. And in 1970, I told my first grade teacher I was going to be a first grade teacher, and that's what I became. For some of you, yay, some of you not so yay, that I earned my degree at University of Arizona. Okay, a few there. And my master's through NAU, not to leave ASU out, but we have, after 30 years, we've had a wonderful journey. I was asked once and an award honoree through our town about how does it feel to live your dream and are you ever going to retire? And I said, I'll retire after this is not fun any longer. And I'm still here. I'm still planning on going to continue. And there's no retirement in the near future, much to my retired husband's dismay. So we are asking today for an increase from K through 8 to K through 12. And along with that, a program of instruction change because ours are amended because our program of instruction for the 9 through 12 is a little bit different than the K through 8. So did I say my name? My name is Tawny Smith, by the way. And
My name is Courtney Ricks. Wonderful. Board members, do we have questions? Member Jones? Oh, who wants to go? Member Barr.
So you mentioned it. How is it different from your current K through 8 model, please?
well, our K through 8 is very traditional, teacher in the classroom, students in the class. And we also have a full-time teacher's aide in every classroom. So there are 2 staff members to every 12 students. We cap at 24. And our 9 through 12 program will be an online, it's called Schools PLP, and it's a personalized learning program where each student picks the classes that they would choose to take. Of course, in the beginning, mostly electives, but after they've completed their requirements, they have a broader horizon of classes to choose from. It's presented on the computer through a lecture type situation. So it's still a teacher presenting the material to the students, and it can be paused like a regular classroom can be. For example, Joey has a question, he stops his program, he goes to the teacher that we have in the classroom and asks for assistance at that time. So it's not your typical online program at all. It's just that the class material for each subject is presented through the school's PLP program. So that is different than having the classroom teacher who may be a K through 8 certified teacher teaching math today. So when they're taking their math class, they're in pre-calculus, they can still stop their program, ask for immediate help, move forward from there. And they can do that through the program. They can also do that through our staff member that's in the classroom.
So just to clarify, the teacher in the room is when the students are in the class, is it everybody taking math? They're just at different levels, or is it one teacher? Here's the room. Everybody's taking a bunch of different courses, personalized, obviously. And then the teacher has to be prepared to go from like an ELA to a math to a social studies. I just want a little bit of, that's confusing to me.
As we start small, because we never start anything big, even in our K through 8, we started small and grew slowly. It will be a little more variety there because the child who's taking or algebra would be at a different point in their math and may only need 45 minutes to an hour today to complete their lesson. However, the child who's in calculus may need 2 hours on their lesson. So there would be some variance there. They're typically, the core courses are attacked first, and then their electives are afterward. Some kids also work ahead. They have the ability to work at any time or place that they want to. So they can work ahead. So today's 45 minutes for one student may actually be only 10 because he's already reviewed the material and he's ready to complete his assignment. So he will sit and complete his assignment and complete his sooner. Well, rather than have him sitting and waiting, we allow him to go on to his child development class.
And what's the expectation for the students' time in the classroom, like seat time? I know I understand when I'm saying seat time, I'm literally thinking human being in a room, in a seat, not in a classroom, as opposed to doing it outside of school.
They have classroom hours, 8:30 to 2:30, Monday through Thursday. And they're required to be in class just as our K through 8 students are during their classroom seat time. So they are working on schoolwork throughout the day, just like every other student. That part hasn't changed other than the Friday.
And they won't have a specific, I keep jumping in and I know you have questions. You keep making eyes at me and I don't know if I'm asking the same questions that you are not. Sorry, I'm just, schedule wise. So basically their schedule is going to be whatever their personal learning program is. That's their schedule from the 8 to 2:30 Monday through Thursday. Correct? So everybody's is going to be a little bit different. And do we all break for lunch or?
Yes. They'll take breaks at the same time.
Okay.
So they'll have a morning break, a lunchtime break, and an afternoon break.
Okay. Member Barr?
Just kind of following up on your previous question that you had asked. I didn't get the clarification I was hoping for. The adult in the classroom with them, is that a person who you hired to be in a classroom, or is it somebody who is qualified to teach pre-calculus or whatever various subjects.
They are teachers. We also will have paraprofessionals as well, just as we do with our youngers as we grow. I'm sorry, give me the second part of that question again.
I mean, you know, I'm a history teacher and
Oh,
not my subject either. Shocking. Don't ask me dates. I guess just my concern is, you know, if a student is watching a recording of a lecture and they have a question, and you say, you know, they pause, they ask the teacher in the room. I mean, is the teacher going to be able to answer all of those questions? I mean, I can't answer every single question answered in my class, but somebody starts throwing letters and numbers at me and it's going to be rough.
The teacher that is in there with certain students, especially while we're small, will have to have a broader range of information, but they are expected to, that's part of their planning, is to prepare for these students' classes. So they also preview these lectures and watch them. So they are prepared for any questions that come up. Well, many questions come up. Kids often do have some that the teacher has to say, let me go look that up. I'll let you know tomorrow.
Hold on.
Let's look that up together, something like that.
Yeah.
Especially at the high school levels. However, we do also have several certified teachers in specific subjects. For example, my retired husband is a math major and history major. So if there's a history question that cannot be handled, he can handle that question. If there's a math question, he was originally an engineer major, and in engineering you have all kinds of math, and he was mechanical engineering.
You mentioned he's retired. Does he know this?
Oh, yes. He does know. We also have a science teacher that currently teaches our 8th grade science, 7th and 8th grade science. However, she is certified for 9 through 12 as well. So, and an English teacher that is certified 9 through 12, but he teaches our junior high math or social studies at the moment. So we do have this staff handy and ready to answer any specifics that might be outside the norm of what's handled in the lecture.
And then Member Jones, I know you had a question.
So kind of to piggyback on some of that, but also thank you, Bullhead City, for providing a great educational option there. You know, I know that there is a need for good options. So we do appreciate you doing that, and you're continuing to do that. So, so a couple questions. So it sounds like with the instructional model, there's still a master schedule for a student. So they're still following a master schedule. They're still going through the required hours that are part of 9 through 12. That's an important part of making sure that you're, you know, keeping track of that. And then facility, I'm guessing you have no changes needed. You've got all the capacity you need, everything that is set for the facility to be able to
Yes,
add.
for the facility, we currently have 3 available classrooms on our K-8 campus.
Okay.
So that's covered there. However, we did just recently purchase a building that now frees up
Okay.
a remodeling of a current building that we have that will also add more room.
So you're looking to, so as you continue to expand, then you will then move into that
Correct.
other component. Okay. Okay. Thank you. That's all the questions I had.
So the other building, and this is probably a staff question, not how does that work with, will there be like an amendment change necessary? And I'm having a difficult time articulating my thought. Okay.
Allow me to articulate.
Please do.
It depends. My staff loves when I say that. It will depend. If the charter holder were to elect to open it as a new school under the contract as a separate kind of standalone high school so they could get separate accountability, CTDS, entity ID, that would be an amendment to do that, in which case we would get all of the CFOs in that manner. If the charter holder wishes to keep this is completely up to you, by the way, wishes to maintain this as a K-12, should you approve these grades today? I'm assuming the facility has a different address than your current facility?
It would have the same address.
It would have the same address.
Right across the street.
Okay. Provided that the city doesn't get you sideways and give you a new address, which frequently occurs, FYI, we would work with the charter holder to do a member campus amendment request to just add the site, the building to its contract. If none of that happens, it would get checked at the next on-site visit when that facility becomes live. When staff visits, they'll request all CFOs. They'll be like, hey, that's a different building than last time we were here. They'll get that CFO, and that's how we would do that. So it will depend on how they choose to maintain their contract moving forward and whether the city decides to go crazy and add them a new address, which they do a lot.
I hope we listened with interest right there, because I definitely did. Okay, great.
did.
Take notes.
And actually in the county
Just
section and they're
county.
less organized than the city.
Okay, just looking out for you. Okay, I promise. Not trying to, give you any speed bumps or hurdles or anything like that. I do have a couple questions about. There's a lot happening, so I just want to make sure I'm very clear on some things. So we're looking at going from K-8 to K-12. We're looking at a program of instruction change. And from what you have said, this is a pretty significant change from what the students are used to as far as the way the information is presented to them. Okay. So my questions are about presentation of curriculum. So you have K-8 students that are in a traditional setting, teacher, lecture, students, direct instruction. There's independent time to work on work. Teachers walk around, provide assistance. You have a paraprofessional and a teacher. So you're looking at, give or take from what you said, a 12-to-1 ratio, which is fantastic. And then how much of that time for K-8 students is instruction via technology? And then how are you going to, so it's a two-part question. How are you then going to transition those students? Because my assumption, and if I'm incorrect in my assumption, please let me know. My assumption is that you're looking to take those students that you currently have and move them forward into this next model. So if you have students in K-8 that are very used to traditional education, maybe not instruction through either a flipped classroom or through a hybrid model, and now we're looking to move them into a different model, how have you worked to prepare them for this so there can be success moving forward, assuming that everything is approved and you get a gold star and all of the things?
Well, moving them into the process of a little bit different type of learning is somewhat built into the current K-8 curriculum, because in this day of technology, we do a lot of that anyway. We incorporate a lot of learning through technology. So they have seen it. It's not inherently new to them. Secondly, we will be training the teachers that are teaching this how to work in the program and how to intentionally instruct students to stay on task with this type of lecture, to pay attention, to take notes. We do that with our junior high and middle school students anyway, but it's a more intensive note-taking process. The program does also have some systems inside it that shows you some notes and how to take them, and then you can compare your notes to their notes and see how you're doing with that. And so it'll be an intentional process to teach them that, because we all know it in today's day and age, if it's not a video game, they don't want to pay attention. But this program does actually have a lot of their teaching designed in a more game-like situation. So that is fairly nice for the kids. But that's an important element of their first month of school, is that intentional learning time where the teachers will, this is what we do here. This is where we stop. Do you have questions? When is a good time to do this? What do you need to write down here? What don't you need to write down here? When should you discuss with your partner? Because some of them will want to take classes together, because that's part of the fun of being independent, and you get to choose what you want to do, but you also get to choose who you want to do it with. And so if their friend is taking the same class, teaching them, run that by your partner. What do they say? What did they learn from that video? So it's not just to give them a computer and let them loose, because we've seen with a lot of, through COVID and on, a lot of kids who didn't learn a lot of things because they were just given a computer and turned loose and expected to learn on their own. They're not quite mature. We'd like to think our high schoolers are more mature than that, but oftentimes they are not, and they need that guidance. And that's why we insist that they be on campus, and why we have teachers in the classroom, because we don't buy into the completely independent path because many aren't ready for that.
And I'm going to go back to the question that member Jones asked about capacity and facility. So, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, board staff, but my understanding is that this school currently does not have an enrollment cap, or the enrollment cap is pretty significant and is significantly more significant than capacity at the building. That was a lot of significance right there.
Yes, it is quite large. We consider it an unlimited enrollment cap, which is technically a 99,999 student enrollment cap, which is much larger.
And what's the capacity again in the building? Because I'm pretty sure it's not that.
I believe their capacity is about 680.
Okay. And then the new building.
Of that?
Yes. And then also I would like to know if you have, I know that you purchased it and this is for future us, right? But we need to think about future us right now. What's the capacity of that building? Because there are just a lot of pieces involved in this, and we want you to be successful. So that's why I'm asking the questions. Okay, go ahead.
Many years ago, when charters first started, we had to have every move approved through an amendment. And so tens and tens and tens of charters were coming to the charter board saying, can we add 10 more students? Can we add 15 more students? Can we add 20 more students? Well, the charter board was inundated with a lot of work. And about 10 years into the program, the charter, I don't know if it was the State Board for Charter Schools or if it was just the board, but came to the charter schools and said, you guys all have a 9,999 student cap. We said, okay, we'll never reach that. We have no desire to reach that. That's not who we are. But it's there and it's been on that record ever since. No, we don't want 9,999 students. However, that is what the cap shows online. We have 3 classrooms on campus, which gives us, we'll say 30 per classroom. And then in the building that we are going to expand to, we can model that building into anywhere from 6 to 8 classrooms.
Okay.
And then we already have land that we own that we could expand from there if we so chose.
Okay.
Not that we've looked into that yet, but
that's future.
That's
us.
future. We're
Yeah,
just worried about
many
future.
futures. Us.
Trying
Yeah.
to be present us.
Yeah. I know. And
future us.
and present us was like 900. And the capacity 600. I don't know. It's future us or current us was kind of freaking out a little bit about that.
We kind of said, well, we won't have to go back and ask for more students.
Right. Okay. So that answered that question. I feel like I've bogarted the mic. Do we have other questions from board members? Okay, jump on.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Congratulations on your 30. Thank you. So I noticed just your sustainability. That's fantastic, right? Statewide, we've seen those ADM numbers drop. So that's why you haven't gotten grilled on those questions. You guys have really held your own. And I know that's hard to do. So it's kind of a 2-part question and one part might not be for you. Back to John's question earlier on neighboring schools. First question is, how much competition, how many other high schools in Bullhead City? I read a little bit of your passion on that in the executive summary, but doesn't sound like a lot.
It's
I have that for you.
Thank you.
So we have 2 charter, pause. This took some finagling. We have 1 charter high school within 5 miles that was recently approved to add the high school grades. It currently shows as a B, but that does not include high school grades at this time. We have a second charter high school within 7 miles. It's been there for quite some time. That is A rated, and that it appears based on our limited knowledge of Bullhead City, but what ADE is reporting, there is a public district high school 11 miles away, high school grades only, rated a B. Please let me know if I've missed anything because I'm happy to pull that up.
There is one more high school it's about 7 miles, 7 miles, 8. So it's the sister school. It's under one district. It's called the Crushed District. They have the 11-mile one is the River Valley.
Yes.
The 8-mile one is Mojave High School.
That is correct.
That is part of the Crushed District as well.
Got it.
That is our other high
Interesting.
school.
That one did not pull on ADE. So apparently there's one more that's not pulling on ADE.
And I don't know their letter grade, but I know it's not okay.
I think this year I do think they
Don't quote
scored
me,
a B
sorry.
this year, but if in terms of passing, they don't have a high passing rate. I think they had a high growth rate, but I don't think they had a high passing rate. And this answer might be, this next question might be sort of partnered with that. I mean, I think I was excited to see both of these schools on the agenda today because as a K-6, I'm often asked, first grade parents, but where are they going to go to high school, right? And so I recognize that long-term sustainability, sometimes you need to consider that path. But I guess the question is why now, right? 30 years, why now? Why is now the right time? The easy answer to that is now I have help. About 15 years ago, I still had all of the parents coming, but I said, please, I would love to do this, but I'm not going to sacrifice our K through 8 for the expense of the 9 through 12. And my heart at that time was solely K through 8. That's just where I ran. And I had zero support. They all wanted it, but nobody wanted to step up and help. And I said that I cannot do it myself, and I'm not willing to sacrifice or give up the K through 8 to move into the 9 through 12. So we'll look to this later at a time when we have a different scenario. And since then, of course, I still have those many parents coming and asking, but now I have interested parties who are willing to help me. And I said, I don't mind taking the lead and moving with this and making it a part of us, but I need that support. I need to have teachers that I can put in there. I need to have paras that I can put in there. I need to have land that I can purchase or buildings that I can purchase and things have developed in that direction. So now that I have the behind the scenes support, it's very much more realistic. And this is one of my support.
She indicated with the pointing who the help was. Lovely. All right.
Really makes the difference. Yeah. Thank you. It does. It makes a lot of difference. And like I said, the K through 8, we didn't want to sacrifice because, that's been going along.
Nor should you. If it's going well, don't sacrifice it. Do you have a question,
Yeah,
sir?
If everyone's done for now.
Yes.
I do want to revisit the enrollment cap topic.
I was actually going to head there.
You've done a great job. I want to commend you on that.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate your whole history in there. And like Member Miller said, congratulations on your 30, but just in order to ensure the sustained success and integrity of the program of instruction, I think it would be helpful to apply an enrollment cap. And I would think that I'm inclined to make a motion to approve, but with an enrollment cap. What I want to know is what would be a good number. Like I said, you've done a good job. I don't see anything that really sticks out as a red flag for your personal history and the history of the school. But I'm trying to determine an actual number to put in there.
Something that would hopefully give opportunity for growth, but would also be able to financially keep you secure, because I know that is a significant concern of Member Snyder and the rest of us as well, obviously. But 1 million students is a little excessive. So, so that'd be great if you could. I'm so glad you brought that up.
I'm just, do you have any ideas? I'm thinking 1,000.
That would have been my suggestion, Madam President, is that we're looking in our next few years at approximately 500 to 600. So extending that a few more years beyond that, I think 1,000 would be appropriate. And we have no problem with an enrollment cap. We found it humorous in the first place that it was at 9,999.
And so 1,000 would, okay, because current building is 600, correct? Capacity. The current building that you're in.
I've taken the liberty of taking all of the C of O's, multiplying and adding, and I get 680 as
680.
my rough estimate.
Got it. Great. And then future us building, right, which is why we're trying to allow for some growth, I think you said was something along the lines of close to that. Is that accurate or inaccurate?
6 to 8 classrooms at 30.
Somebody do the math.
1,800. So that's
240, 240.
Okay. Yeah, great. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, Member Snyder, go for it.
If I may, I think it's a prudent thing just to make sure we're clean going forward in the long run for the purpose. But to correct the record, is one school I'm not worried about. I've never, frankly, I've never seen a school of this size this financially solid. So, you know, that's not a concern, and why I didn't ask any questions.
No. I wasn't trying to throw you under the bus. I'm sorry. I just think that since it was brought up, it's important to note that financially we want to make sure that everybody's okay. You know what I mean? It sounds like you've already secured the other buildings, so there's not concern there. We didn't know about that. At least I didn't. I don't want to speak for anybody else. So when I was looking at this, excessive enrollment cap and going 600 people, I'm not the best at math, but that math ain't mathin', you know what I'm saying? So I was just wanted to make sure that I had a pretty good understanding of that. I figured if Member Snyder didn't ask questions, then we are good to go because he's pretty on that. But I just wanted to put it out there anyway, just for the record. So thanks for clarifying for me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Snyder.
All right. Any other questions? Oh, Member Ruiz. He's waving at me.
I just wanted to reiterate a little bit on the enrollment cap. I'm comfortable, establishing some sort of cap. Only, I think having the unlimited from a, I don't know, from a, I want to say like a succession. I would not. These people are doing obviously a very good job. I like to see some sort of enrollment cap so that as this woman, the operator said, at some point we're all going to exit our businesses. We're going to die. We're going to sell. We're going to shut it down. So it would be nice for them to, in that succession, to have a good program that somebody's attracted, instead of having just unlimited, creating a program with unlimited enrollment. And yeah, I just want to, that's just my comment. I want to see some sort of enrollment cap.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions? Last comments? Do we have a motion?
Let's try this. This is for Young Scholars Academy Charter School Corporation. I move based on the information contained in the board materials and presented today to approve Young Scholar Academy's hereinafter referred to as the charter holder request to add grades 9 through 12 and to amend its program of instruction for the contract of Young Scholars Academy Charter School Corporation on the condition that the charter holder agreed to amend its charter contract to provide for an enrollment cap of 1,000. And my personal specific reason is really to ensure that, as I said, ongoing success and integrity of the program of instruction, and specifically to maintain a, how should I say it, effective student-instructor ratio. If the charter holder does not agree to amend its charter to provide for the enrollment and cap previously stated, the charter holder's request to add grades 9 through 12 and to amend its program of instruction is denied for the reasons previously specified for decrease in the enrollment cap.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Can we get a roll call, please?
Vice President Close,
Aye.
Superintendent Designee Miller,
Good luck, Kaplan. Aye.
Miss Barr,
Aye.
Dr. Crockett,
Aye.
Miss Jones,
Aye.
Mr. Ruiz,
Aye.
Mr. Snyder,
Aye.
Mr. Swanson,
Aye.
President Monteith.
A resounding aye. Congratulations. You can clap for this one too. We can clap. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good luck. Did you get your phone? Everybody got everything? Wonderful. All right, on to agenda item I1, compliance matters, Franklin Phonemic Primary School presentation by Andrea. And oh, I'm sorry, I must say, did I mess something up? Phonetic, not phonemic. I'm so sorry. Let's try this again. Obviously, English isn't my best subject either. Okay, let's try it again. Franklin, phonetic, primary school, presentation by Andrea.
President Montier, members of the board, first going to start off with some general background for all the charters on this agenda item. Under the board's financial framework, staff annually assigns each charter holder a summative financial performance rating of either good standing, adequate standing, or intervention. A charter holder with one or more measures rated below standard is assigned an intervention rating. A charter holder that receives an intervention rating for 2 or more consecutive years is placed on probation and does not meet the board's financial performance expectations. Staff assigns each on probation charter holder a probation risk level using the 2 most recent audits and the criteria set forth in board's rules. The board has established 3 probation risk levels: probation risk level 1, which represents the highest risk, probation risk level 2, and probation risk level 3. Under the board's rules, a charter holder assigned to probation risk level 1 is subject to a consent agreement with the board, charter revocation proceedings, or if applicable, denial of renewal. In February 2024, the board approved changes to the financial framework's measures, measure targets, and measure calculations. Generally, these changes took effect with the review of the fiscal year 2024 audits. In February 2025, the board directed staff to determine, for each charter holder assigned to probation risk level 1 during the fiscal year 2025 audit cycle, whether the charter holder would have been assigned to level 1 if the February framework had been used to determine the charter holder's financial performance for the fiscal years 2023 and, if applicable, fiscal year 2022 audit cycles. For a charter holder assigned to probation risk level 1, when the February framework is used for all applicable cycles, the board directed staff to place the charter on a subsequent agenda for the board to determine the appropriate action to take. 3 probation risk level 1 charter holders have been placed on today's agenda. Franklin Phonetic Primary School, Inc. has 2 contracts with the board. The contract with Entity ID 4495 operates 1 school in Prescott Valley, serving grades kindergarten through 8. The contract with Entity ID 92596 operates 1 school in Phoenix, serving grades kindergarten through 6. For both contracts, performance on 5 of the 6 financial framework measures is the same. Performance on the average daily membership measure is contract specific. The charter holder received an intervention rating for fiscal years 2023, 2024, and 2025. Using the criteria identified in the board's rules, staff assigned the charter holder to probation risk level 1 because the charter holder received 2 consecutive probation risk level 3 determinations. The charter holder is also assigned to probation risk level 1 for the fiscal year 2025 audit cycle when the charter holder's fiscal year 2023 performance is determined using the February framework. I'm available for questions, and representatives for the charter holder are also available.
Do we have any questions for Andrea?
Thank you, President Montier. Andrea, so the quarterly variance reporting, is that a requirement that we ask charters to include, or is that a voluntary component of where they're at? For all charters that are placed in intervention, whether they end up being on probation or not, your rules require certain financial intervention submissions. And the biggest of those is that they must submit quarterly financial reports to us until we get their next audit. So it is required in the rules. That just wanted to double check that. So the last variance reporting would have been the December 31st, 2025, correct?
That's correct. Their
Okay.
the one for the next quarter is due at the end of April.
At the end of April. That's what I was going to ask too. Okay, that's all I had.
Any other questions for Andrea?
I do really quick.
Yes.
I just want to clarify, since it is 2 separate entity IDs, but 1 organization, is it identical for both of the schools based on the meeting materials and everything? I just want to make sure I'm not trying to skim over the same thing twice. Are they separate financial audits, or is it submitted as one?
For them, it is submitted as one because our contracts are with the same entity. So when you're looking over the materials, the only thing that would differ is anything related to ADM. That would be contract specific rather than organization.
Just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
And just following up on that question, we will have two motions though, because there are two entities. So even though we're looking at similar or the same materials, we do have two motions to make. Okay. Any other questions for Andrea? Do we have members from the charter? Come on up. It's still morning, so good morning.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Cindy Franklin. I've been a public educator in Arizona for 45 years. We have been successfully operating Franklin Phonetic Primary School at a highly performing level for the past 30 years in Prescott Valley and the past 11 years in Sunny Slope. Unfortunately, we are not here for our academic performance, but we are here because we did not meet the financial metrics. You may notice that both entities are under consideration, and in the interest of expediency, I would like to please address the issues both together because we do have a joint audit. We have always made decisions about our school based on what is legal, what is good for students, what is good for parents, what is good for staff. For 30 years, despite an initial grant of $35,000, we have been able to successfully sustain a high-performing school in Prescott Valley and replicate to a school in Sunny Slope despite no grants of any kind. 4 years ago, however, we acquired a building adjacent to the Prescott campus that made things a little bit tight financially with all the extra remodeling that needed to be done to accommodate the students. This building greatly blessed us by providing a gymnasium, upgraded art and music facilities, and proved invaluable last year when an unexpected fire at the Prescott Valley campus forced us to evacuate 250 students out of their classroom. It is a commendation to our fine staff that none of the parents pulled their children, despite the inconvenience caused by having to learn for 6 months in crowded buildings because of the fire. Our board has always tried to monitor financial and enrollment concerns. When we learned that we had failed to meet one of our debt service coverage ratio requirements from our bondholder, we took steps to address the situation, and with the help of this consulting company, we were able to turn things around in less than a year. And now we are in compliance with our bondholders in our $5.5 million mortgage. And this is demonstrated in our FY25 audit. Now, even though this goal has been accomplished, we recently learned that we still fall short in meeting the charter board's financial requirements. The metrics are slightly different. Therefore, we have continued to make adjustments. And now that our accounting program has completely recovered from the previous year's ransomware attacks, we can produce accurate reports which can guide our financial decisions. Now, turning around an organization like a charter school is sort of like turning around a cruise ship. You can't just turn the wheel and go, whoop, we're going this way. Because you have to consider what's good for the students, what's good for their parents, what's good for the school environment. But with the help of our consultant and even our quarterly board reports that we have faithfully submitted over these 3 years, you can tell that we are forecasted to meet the charter requirements. And in conclusion, we're confident that we can accept, honor, and fulfill the requirements of a proposed charter consent agreement. We want to continue to put the needs of Arizona's children first. And I would be glad to answer any questions. However, we do have our financial consultant, Mr. Rick Roberts, who is available to address the board, who would be able to reassure you about our financial status. In fact, I'm very grateful that we have some charter pioneers with us today. We have Leo Condos, who is one of the founding lawyer representatives for the State Board for Charter Schools. He is not here in a legal capacity. He serves on our school board. We are pleased to have Rick Roberts, who is a financial pioneer for charter schools. We have my husband, Tom Franklin, co-founder of the school, who will probably join me in the Pioneers Home when all is said and done. We're Arizona natives here. But we also have the future of Franklin School. We have Dr. Kristen Good, we have Allison Alva, and we have Mr. Ricardo Osuna, who has early childhood experience as well as obtaining a degree in financial affairs, because that does seem to be the direction that they're going with. But in order to reassure you about our continued commitment to Arizona's children, with your indulgence and permission, I would really like to call Rick Roberts to the microphone, if that's acceptable. And I will remain here to answer questions as well. I won't escape. Okay, Mr. Roberts, could you please join me?
Good morning, everyone. My name is actually James Richard Roberts. I'm a CPA, but I go by Rick. I was brought on board with Franklin approximately a year ago. And the first thing that they wanted me to accomplish was to establish a budget to actual financial statement so that they could tell if they were over budget, under budget, or breaking even. And we've accomplished that. And I think we've set up some tools that going forward, they will be financially successful. I think we sent you the December 31, 2025 balance sheet and income statements. And the net income, excuse me, was 67,000. No. Yeah, the net income was $362,306. And as of that date, they met all of the board's financial sustainability requirements. Going forward, I'll be working closely with Allison and Ms. Franklin to make sure that going forward, they are financially successful. Y'all have any questions for me or?
Board members, do we have questions? Member Jones.
Thank you, President Montiers, and thank you for being here. We appreciate it. So it does look like the comparison from September to December, and I'm looking at the statement of revenues and expenditures. When you look at the actual variance reporting, it does look like in September it was negative, but then into December it did move to positive. Right. 67,000 plus or whatever for December. So were you instrumental in helping the team kind of from September to December figure out how to get to a point where, they had made the necessary changes, or is it the leadership? Yeah.
Allison quite a bit, showing where they can cut costs, whether it's
Okay.
Employees or supplies, curriculum supplies, purchase services, and that type of thing. And I think we've accomplished that goal. And working forward, I'll be working closely with Ms. Franklin and Allison so that we continue to be financially successful throughout the year. And I think we're on the right track. In fact, I know we are.
Good. Okay. So the frequency of when you're looking at that analysis of that variance. So if you're going into third quarter now, right?
Right.
So from December to April,
Right.
do you still feel you're in the positive? You're going to be positive? Feel like you're still on that same
I
trajectory?
haven't gotten to that point yet. I mean,
Okay.
we haven't reached the end of March yet, so I
Yeah.
will be providing financials, which we can
Okay.
forward to the board at the end of September. We should have that done, I would say, the first week in April or no later than the 15th.
So operationally and financially, are you doing it monthly though with the leaders so that they can
Yes.
review it monthly?
Friday.
Okay.
Allison has been, from the time I was originally hired, which was about a year ago, to now, she's come a long way, and she can produce monthly financials. and
Okay.
give to the board if that's what if that's what y'all want.
That's excellent to hear. Okay. That's where I was getting at. So I appreciate it. Thank you for answering those questions.
Any other questions?
No. Just checking online. Okay, I don't think we have any other questions. So if we don't have any other questions, do we have a motion? I'm ready when you are. If we don't have any other questions.
All right. Well, thank you all for your time and making it out here.
You're welcome.
We need two motions.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes. First, we are going to make a motion for entity ID 4495.
Okay, so I move to find that Franklin Phonetic Primary School, Inc. entity ID 4495 hereinafter referred to in this motion as the charter holder has failed to meet the financial performance expectations set forth in the board's financial performance framework and has violated its charter contract and state law. These failures and violations provide a sufficient basis to issue a notice of intent to revoke the charter holder's contract. However, the board is authorized to exercise its legal discretion with regard to actions taken against a charter holder that is not in compliance with its charter and state law. In an effort to bring the charter holder into compliance, the board moves to enter into a consent agreement that includes the same terms and provisions as the financial performance consent agreement included in today's meeting materials. Sorry. I further move that the board authorize the board president to approve and sign the consent agreement executed by the charter holder without it being brought before the entire board for approval at a subsequent meeting. If the charter holder chooses not to accept the terms of the financial performance consent agreement or an executed copy of the consent agreement along with governing board minutes approving the consent agreement are not received by the date specified by board staff, then it is the board's decision that the charter holder be placed on a future agenda for a motion to issue a notice of intent to revoke, excuse me, the charter holder's charter contract for the reasons already specified.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Dr. Crockett. Ashley, roll call, please.
Vice President Close,
Aye.
Superintendent Designee Miller,
Aye.
Miss Barr,
Aye.
Dr. Crockett,
Aye.
Miss Jones,
But I also like to make a comment. That, I know the production of or how we produce the consent agreement and with your, collaboration, cooperation that we include in that consent agreement, all the terms and provisions I think that we've had and that we just work closely with the school on that. And I think I said aye.
Mr. Ruiz,
Aye.
Mr. Snyder,
Aye.
Mr. Swanson,
Aye.
President Monteith.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay. And so now we are looking for a second motion. Don't go anywhere yet. Hold on. Hold on. We are looking for a second motion, and I don't want to mess this up, for entity ID 92596. Do we have a motion?
Okay. Oh,
okay.
gee, Stephanie.
Member
That was a lot
Bob.
of words here.
Seems like we needed a break. Do you want some water?
Maybe.
Member Barr.
Make sure I'm doing the right one. Yep. I move to find that Franklin Phonetic Primary School, Inc., entity ID 92596, hereinafter referred to in this motion as a charter holder, has failed to meet the financial performance expectations set forth in the board's financial performance framework and has violated its charter contract and state law. These failures and violations provide a sufficient basis to issue a notice of intent to revoke the charter holder's contract. However, the board is authorized to exercise its legal discretion with regard to actions taken against a charter holder that is not in compliance with its charter and state law. In an effort to bring the charter holder into compliance, the board moves to enter into a consent agreement that includes the same terms and provisions as the financial performance consent agreement included in today's meeting materials. I further move that the board authorize the board president to approve and sign the consent agreement executed by the charter holder without it being brought before the entire board for approval at a subsequent meeting. If the charter holder chooses not to accept the terms of the financial performance consent agreement or an executed copy of the consent agreement, along with governing board minutes approving the consent agreement, are not received by the date specified by board staff, then it is the board's decision that the charter holder be placed on a future agenda for a motion to issue a notice of intent to revoke the charter holder's charter contract for the reasons already specified.
Motion has been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
Dr. Crockett. All right, Ashley.
Vice President Close,
Aye.
Superintendent Designee Miller,
Aye.
Miss Barr,
Aye.
Dr. Crockett,
Aye.
Miss Jones.
Aye, and I'd like to make a comment again, that board staff works collaboratively and closely with the school to make sure that consent agreement is within those provisions.
Mr. Ruiz,
Aye.
Mr. Snyder,
Aye.
Mr. Swanson,
Aye.
President Monteith.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you for your presentation. We appreciate it. Okay, and we are moving on to agenda item I3, Strength Building Partners. Our presentation is also by Andrea.
Strength Building Partners operates one school in Tucson, which serves grades 6 through 10. The charter holder received an intervention rating for fiscal years 2023, 2024, and 2025. Using the criteria identified in the board's rules, staff assigned the charter holder to probation risk level 1 because the charter holder received 2 consecutive probation risk level 3 determinations. The charter holder is also assigned to probation risk level 1 for the fiscal year 2025 audit cycle when the charter holder's fiscal year 2023 performance is determined using the February framework. I'm available for questions, and representatives for the charter holder are also available virtually.
Board members, any questions for Andrea?
I don't have a question, but I just want to say after seeing these documents that are hundreds of pages long, thank you so much for what you do, Andrea. Appreciate it.
I had a similar thought. Yes,
You're welcome.
It's pretty epic. Yeah. Any other questions or comments for Andrea? All right, and we do have a board member. Well, it looks like we have, is it 3 board or charter representatives? 3?
We have 4 people. I'm Pamela Clark-Rains. I'm the president of Strength Building Partners. We also have the principal, Brian Shea, present virtually. Letitia Lujan, who's the chair of our governing board, is also present virtually. And we have a representative from our accounting firm, Diamond Financial, also virtually present.
Fantastic. I can only see 2 of you, so I apologize for making an assumption that there were only 2 of you. Welcome. And please feel free to share your thoughts and comments with us.
Thank you very much, President Montier and board members, for letting us come in and share some information about us. I'd like to just start with a little bit about us. I know you have a lot of background information, but Strength Building Partners opened Las Puertas Community School in 2014. Las Puertas is an alternative school whose philosophy is based upon the tenets of strength building. We are a unique school situated in South Tucson. Our students come from over 9 different various zip codes in Tucson. 85% of our kids qualify for free lunch. 67% are Hispanic Latino, 29% are Native American, and 4% are white. We strive to serve our students holistically while providing them a strength building education, facilitating their success in school and in their lives. Like many schools, which reviewing some of the former board meetings, both traditional and charter, Las Puertas was greatly impacted by the pandemic. During the pandemic, we actually had 78 students. Post-pandemic, our enrollment dropped to an ADM of 41.21. Currently, we have an ADM of 49.175, which translates to an enrollment of 54. So every year since the pandemic has ended, we continue to increase our enrollment. With our current building and staff, we're working towards a total enrollment of 75. In order to respond to the financial challenges we had post-pandemic, we reduced expenses in every possible way. We let one of our teachers go. We switched providers with better prices, and we will continue to stay alert to areas where costs can be decreased while continuing to provide a quality strength building education. We've also done fundraising in the form of grant writing, seeking private donations. In fact, this year we received a grant from Pasquayaki Tribe. We have some more applications out there waiting to hear from them. We also received a private donation, which allowed us to purchase a marquee, which we believe has assisted us in attracting and enrolling more students. If I could show you the outside, we kind of sit in the center of South Tucson, and we're if you drove by without a marquee, it was hard to see who we were. So the marquee, we think, has really helped us a lot. And to do what is our second form of attack, which is outreach to get more students. So we've increased our activities in terms of outreach, trying to bring more community members in so more people hear about us. If you use our current financials as of February 28th, we at this point only remain in the red in one category of the financial performance, which is the available reserve. Although we have money in the bank, it will take us some time to reach the point where we have enough to get back into the green. Our goal, however, is to continue working as we are. And by June 30th, the end of this fiscal year 26, we hope to at least be in the yellow. But that's what we're striving for, and through our enrollment and our grant writing. And that's my little blurb. Are there any questions for me?
I was just going to ask. So, board members, do we have some questions? Member Jones looking right at you.
President Montier, thank you for being here. Appreciated. So just to clarify, your 100th day ADM, where did you land?
The 100th day?
Yeah.
Oh goodness, I don't have the 100th day. I have we were probably at like 51 maybe.
Okay.
Of this year, you mean 100th day of this year? Yeah.
Yeah, current. Yeah. So most schools, I think, of this point have passed their 100th day. I just wanted to.
Oh yeah, we passed it in January, mid-January.
Okay. And you said it's possibly 51?
Probably around 50, 51, yes.
Okay. And so then your variance reporting and how often you're looking at that, I can see that you did have positive, you from September to December, it does look like you decreased expenses, and you said that was instructional?
Well, one was, yes, we had to let go of a teacher.
Okay. So do you anticipate that you're going to need to do any other cost reductions through the third quarter then? Because you're positive, but not by a lot.
Right. We really have, I work really closely with our accountant, and we really have kind of cut everything that we can possibly cut and still be alive. And that's when this year I've also been active in doing grant writing.
Okay. Okay. I don't have any other questions.
I would just like to sort of piggyback on Member Jones and a comment that you made. So, and I'm sorry if I'm kind of looking all over the place. I know we have screens down here, but I feel like I need to look out. So my question for you is, how did letting go of the teacher impact your school? And kind of to piggyback on what Member Jones was saying, looking at some more third quarter possible cuts and things like that, are you looking at additional, payroll reductions, I guess would be the phrase that I would use? And how will that then impact the students?
That would be challenging. With the 54 students that we really have 3 teachers and 1 tutor. And it would be really hard in terms of, being grade 6 through 10, also to handle all of the various subject matters with less than 3 teachers.
Right. And that was my concern with letting go of.
Right.
And that was my concern with letting go of the teacher that you let go of. And I know that in speaking with our director of finance, payroll is the easiest place and quickest place to cut expenses, but obviously we don't want to do that at the the detriment of the students. So, so how did, I guess, back to my initial question, how did I don't know if it was a loss or letting go. I'm not really sure what happened, but how did that impact the school letting go of that teacher that you had mentioned?
What we were able to do is at the time we had 2 full-time tutors. One of the tutors was qualified to be a teacher. When he applied to us, we didn't have any teacher positions available. So what we did was made him a full-time teacher. So what we did was switch it. So it cost us a little bit more. That's where we had we only had 3 teachers before. So we let her, the teacher who was one of the highest payroll. And then we were able to switch our tutor from a tutor to a teacher. He's completely qualified to do that. And so we really just kind of shifted, and it cost us somewhat more because his salary is now that of a teacher, but we were able to continue with the 3 teachers, which enabled us to continue having, adequate class size and adequate subjects being covered.
Okay, thank you for answering that. And Member Jones, do you have another question?
Yeah, President Montier. So I do have one question. So I understand the instructional salaries and wages and teachers. But what about the non-instructional? Because they're comparative when you actually look at the amount and the expense. What does that administrative kind of structure look like for 51 students and that expense?
What we have is myself, and I do all the business. I'm also the social worker here. I'm an LCSW, so I'm also the social worker here. So I have two roles. Actually, more than that, it seems, but 2 roles. We have Mr. Shea, the principal. We have Diana Leon, who is our business manager, who does all the other business stuff and all the compliance things and all the things that are, I can't even begin to tell you all the things that she does. Then we do have an associate teacher, who is covered. Part of a good deal of her salary is covered with Title I because she works as an assistant to our special ed teacher. We also have a very part-time, she's 10 hours a pay period special ed teacher. And then we have the tutor. And being an alternative school, that was one of the things that we really have to fight for, because our kids come in on average of, before the pandemic, 2 years behind. After the pandemic, it's more like an average of 3 or 4 years behind. We still need to teach them on grade level so that they can, continue in the grade and, be able to know the subject matter. But they need a lot of outside tutoring to help them understand. I use this kid as an example all the time. He came in, he was age appropriate to be in 6th grade. He did not know his numbers. He did not know his letters. He didn't know how to tie his shoelace. He's now at 8th grade level, and he's probably at a 6th or 7th grade academic level. So, I mean, that's the most extreme that we've had, but we have kids who haven't been in school for years. We have kids who reading levels are so low. There's no way, well, I guess there's a way, but in order to really be beneficial for the kids to be in school and to be successful, these are kids, most of our kids are kids who have not been successful in school at all. And they come very reluctantly, many of them. And but if we can help them so that they feel smart, they feel like they're intelligent, they can learn the things and succeed. And our kids are succeeding. We have a really good rate in terms of where they sit compared to where they were when they got here. And a lot of that has to do with being able to have them sit with the tutor, either in the classroom itself or sometimes outside the classroom. So a tutor is a very important. We'd love to have 2 tutors as we did before, but financially we can't do that right now, and which is one of the reasons I keep seeking more grants, which help us pay for that.
So
did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did. Thank you. So just a follow up. So if you think of instructional plus administrative, and you take the number of students for ADM, it's like a 5-to-1 ratio. If you just include all that in, you're about a 5 or 6-to-1 ratio per student, which is wonderful. But is it financially, so are you going to be able to be financially solvent and be able to continue to do that over the course of the next even few years? Because you either have to increase enrollment or you have to continue to decrease. So I guess that's my only question. That's why I kind of wanted you to expand on that, is to find out what really is, if you take all the staff and you put it together, what are some other options for you as you continue to look to the future here?
I also should say that I work 30 hours a week. I do not work full time.
Yeah.
So that reduces my salary too.
Sure.
I know it's hard.
It's hard. I
but,
understand.
I understand what you're saying, 5-to-1. However, Diana Leon does not teach. I do not teach. Brian Shea does not teach. So if you take the teaching staff and do that, then it's a lot lower. And I believe we're on a skeleton crew as it is. So our goal is to continue increasing enrollment, and we have been increasing it every year since the pandemic, and to bring in more money, which is what we're doing. As I said, we're being very successful. And I just got notice that I got a grant this morning that I applied for. So we're going to do that and to get and private donors, and to do that and continue doing that until our enrollment is adequate for the costs.
Thank you for answering all those questions. I know it's hard. It's difficult. And I just, I just also want to make sure that, as a board, we talk about the reality and kind of what it looks like right now. And it is tough. So, okay. Thank you.
And just to kind of piggyback on Member Jones, we want to make sure that any agreement that's entered into is as successful as possible, right? For you, for the board, for the portfolio, we want to make sure that there's success as much as possible. So please understand that when we ask the questions, we're not here to grill. You are doing the Lord's work. It is incredibly hard work, what you're doing. And unfortunately, money gets in the way sometimes of the good work that we're doing. And so if we're going to enter into some sort of agreement, we just want to make sure that it'll be as successful as possible. And I think that's why, I don't want to speak for Member Jones, but I think that's why Member Jones is specifically asking those questions. And she has fortunately, a very unique perspective in that she also works with the alternative school setting. So that gives us another opportunity to kind of better understand where everybody's coming from. So with that, do we have any other questions? Oh, yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Yes.
If it turns out, I'm really the one who watches the numbers. If it turns out that we are not able to pull up, and as I said, the only thing right now that we are in the red at this point is the reserves. And that's where I hope that some of the grants can come through. I'm continuing to look for grants so that we can put more money in the bank, because we do have our expenses covered with our equalization payment. So at this point, our expenses are covered, and it's about getting the reserve that we're looking for. If it turns out that we're not successful in doing that, yes, we would certainly look at, looking at other ways to cut, whether it's half-time staff or whatever. We're really very much on it in terms of where our money sits and how much money we're pulling in.
And we certainly don't want, payroll cuts to happen, obviously, because that impacts the students, and that's why we're here. We're here for the kids. So, but thank you for bringing that to our attention. We definitely appreciate it. Do we have any other questions from board members at all? No? Okay. And with that, then, do we have a motion?
Sure.
Okay.
Let me take another swig of water here.
We're doing a lot of talking.
Not that. Okay, I move to find that Strength Building Partners, hereinafter referred to in this motion as the charter holder, has failed to meet the financial performance expectations set forth in the board's financial performance framework and has violated its charter contract and state law. These failures and violations provide a sufficient basis to issue a notice of intent to revoke the charter holder's contract. However, the board is authorized to exercise its legal discretion with regard to actions taken against the charter holder that is not in compliance with its charter and state law. In an effort to bring the charter holder into compliance, the board moves to enter into a consent agreement that includes the same terms and provisions as the financial performance consent agreement included in today's meeting materials. I further move that the board authorize the board president to approve and sign the consent agreement executed by the charter holder without it being brought before the entire board for approval at a subsequent meeting. If the charter holder chooses not to accept the terms of the financial performance consent agreement or an executed copy of the consent agreement along with governing board minutes approving the consent agreement are not received by the date specified by board staff, then it is the board's decision that the charter holder be placed on a future agenda for a motion to issue a notice of intent to revoke the charter holder's charter contract for the reasons already specified.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, can we get a roll call, please?
Vice President Close,
Aye.
Superintendent Designee Miller,
Aye.
Miss Barr,
Aye.
Dr. Crockett,
Aye.
Miss Jones.
I would like to make a comment. Collaboration with consent agreement and the school leaders, and it's going to be some work. So just I appreciate that you're prepared for that and that you're going into this realistically. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Ruiz,
Say aye.
Mr. Snyder,
Aye.
Mr. Swanson,
Aye.
President Monteith.
Aye. Thank you so much for your presentation. We really appreciate it. And best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Ashley, can we take a quick break, please?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Ashley, can we get a roll call briefly to make sure everybody has returned?
Yes.
Please and thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. President Montier.
Here.
Oh, I'm not ready. Sorry. Vice President Close.
Here.
Superintendent Designee Miller.
Present.
Miss Barr. Here. Dr. Crockett.
Present.
Miss Foster. Miss Jones.
Here.
Mr. Ruiz.
Here.
Mr. Snyder.
Here.
Mr. Stratton. Mr. Swanson.
Here.
We have quorum.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. All right, we are on to agenda item J, financial framework. Andrea, again, we're so happy to have you.
President Montiers, members of the board. During its November 2025 meeting, the board directed staff to solicit public comment on proposed changes to the financial performance framework. These changes were developed based on lessons learned during the fiscal year 2024 audit cycle. If approved today, staff proposes the board implement these changes with the fiscal year 2026 audits. During the first opportunity for public comment, which closed on November 26th, the board received comments from one stakeholder. Today's meeting provides a second opportunity for public comment. As noted in the meeting materials, staff is proposing additional changes to the interest expense definition. In addition to providing clarification, changes were made to address the public comment received. When bonds are issued, some of the proceeds may be set aside to cover a portion of future interest expense, sometimes referred to as funded interest. The interest expense amount required to be disclosed in the audit includes funded interest. Beginning with the overhaul of the financial framework in 2018, efforts have been made to align the financial framework with lending industry practices where possible. To more closely align the financial framework with these practices, the proposed interest expense definition has been updated to deduct funded interest when determining the interest expense amount to enter in ASBCS Online for calculating the framework's lease-adjusted debt service coverage ratio. I'm available for questions.
Board members, do we have any questions? Member Snyder.
Thank you, Andrea, or thank you, President Montier. Thank you, Andrea. You and I had talked about this. And again, excuse me, because I'm the newbie. Did we share this change with the person who made the comment or with the general public so that they've seen it as well? I think it addresses the question that, and it's a practical solution to that, but I just want to make sure that we're not going to see another round of questioning.
This was not released again, but today's meeting provides that second opportunity for public comment. And it's my understanding that no one else has signed up to speak. So I don't believe
Okay.
that stakeholder had any other.
So the stakeholder
this
had
is
an
their
opportunity.
Yeah, this
By
is
virtue of having seen the posted materials to comment.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
That's a great question. Anybody else? I just want to say thank you again to the financial team. And I know it takes a whole team, and Andrea in particular for writing everything up, but the framework was overhauled by a group, and that is, you did amazing work. So the fact that we only had one public comment is pretty awesome. So with that, do we have a motion?
Well said, President Montier. Piggybacking onto that, I move the board adopt the changes to the financial performance framework found in the board materials and presented today, and direct staff to make necessary changes to other relevant documents to reflect the board's action at this meeting. I further move that the changes to the financial framework be implemented with the fiscal year 2026 audits.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Fantastic. Can we get a roll call, please?
Vice President Close.
Aye.
Superintendent Designee Miller.
Aye.
Miss Barr.
Aye, and I'd like to also voice my appreciation for those of you who do the numbers.
Dr. Crockett.
Aye.
Miss Jones.
Aye, and yes, and thank you for getting stakeholder input and going through that process. I know it's a lot of work, so good job. We appreciate it.
Mr. Ruiz.
Aye.
Mr. Snyder.
Aye.
Mr. Swanson.
Aye.
President Montier.
Aye. Fantastic. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing. And we are moving on to agenda item K, summary of current events, future meeting dates, and items for future agendas.
So our next board meeting will be on April 7th, and I do want to give you a heads up that it's likely going to be a longer meeting. So plan for being here through lunch. So you may want to bring like a snack or some food. And then also too, we are in our new round of our new charter application cycle, and we just hit our first deadline. So have Rachel here to give you an update on the new charter application cycle.
Hello, Andrea Stoll, my chair. It is my pleasure to give you an update on new charters and new operators. Following your approval of the application instructions for a new charter at the February board meeting, staff immediately launched the new cycle. At this time, we have already completed our training modules, providing applicants an opportunity to gain clarity on the instructions and expectations, as well as hear stories from previous cycles to guide them on their journey. The deadline for letters of intent was Friday, and I'm excited to announce that we received 14 letters of intent to participate in the cycle. These applicants include 4 online instruction programs and 10 brick and mortar schools spanning from Peoria to Mesa to Yuma, Casa Grande, and Tucson, and models ranging from bilingual literacy development, personalized instruction with STEM and AI, Montessori, leadership focus, classical, project-based learning, and more. We are delighted to see an uptick in the number of applicants looking to serve high school grades, which is historically less common in Arizona startup charters. I will provide you an additional update at the May meeting after the hard deadline, letting you know how many of these 14 submit applications and will proceed throughout the cycle. I'd also like to provide an update on the new operators approved in November that are currently working through the Ready to Open process. We've been encouraged to see the outcomes generated by the more frequent engagement with these operators post-approval. In December, these operators were invited to a meet and greet with board staff, where they were able to hear from a panel of individuals that have been in their shoes. This included Sarah Williams from Premier Prep, Mark Holden from Scholars Academy Sunny Slope, Julia Meyerson from AZ Leads, and Mike Godo from Unbound Academy, who is actually here today to provide public comment. We are grateful to each of these individuals for their time and openness in sharing their experiences. In January and February, these new operators were provided training sessions covering important and timely topics such as enrollment, hiring requirements, open meeting law, and additional topics from experts at ADE and SBE, like mandatory reporting. Additionally, leadership from these entities is meeting monthly with their assigned education program managers to check in on progress toward opening and specific items in the Ready to Open checklist. At this time, staff is excited to report that of the 4 operators approved in November, 3 are on track to open in the fall, including demonstrating completion of key steps to secure facilities and meeting the requirements of the other checklist items. The 4th operator has elected to take a planning year to secure the best and most appropriate facility for its model. It's been wonderful to be able to use their current stories and experiences to educate and support the applicants that are now just getting started. So that is my update, and I will be back with an additional one in May.
And
That was a great update.
Yeah.
Oh, what a nice way to end the meeting. All right. We are adjourned if there's nothing else, Ashley.
That's it.
No? Okay. Thank you, everyone.